Hi, I'm Marguerite with MoveToTacoma.com, and I'm here today with my colleague Bobby to talk about buying a house on land in Pierce County.
Hi.
This is something you know, like you live on a house on land.
I think since I was a kid, we always had a little bit of property at least. And I could just never visualize sitting in my backyard with houses all around me or anything like that. So it's always kind of been my thing.
I hear that from folks all the time. Like, I want to be in my house and look out the window and just not see my neighbors. Mm-hmm. So it's, we're in 2022, so finding a house on land isn't as easy as it once was. What are some places where somebody looking to enter the market, our median home price in the county is in the 500s now. Like, where can you find a house on land in Pierce County, around the median price? Is that possible?
It's tough. It's getting tougher.
Okay.
But Roy, Yelm, Eatonville, but really depending on the house that's on it, a million's not what it used to be.
That's a very interesting statement, Bobby.
Yeah, prices are getting up there, but you can find mobile homes with a shop or something like that, in the fours, maybe five. Depending on how much property, exactly where it is, and how big the house is, what kind of other structures are on it, barns, shops, which I think are the biggest bang for your buck as far as return on value is outbuildings.
So can you talk about that? So if somebody's considering, that maybe they've already owned a home, they've lived in their little neighborhood, and now they're looking for some space. They're looking to move further out and have more space. What should they be looking for?
The area, the commute. If they, gravel road. One of the first questions that I ask when someone asks me about finding them a home on land is, tell me what your most important thing is out of, let's say, these three things. Is it commute? Is it view? Is it privacy? What are the big things that you're after? And then try to fine tune it from there based on budget. So you can find stuff. Even down into recently, there's been a couple that have sold even into the 3s and 4s, but they need a lot of work.
Yeah.
Which is awesome because then you build it if you can, and you have the ability and the desire to do that, and build it into what you want.
Well, this kind of builds on, we did another video talking about how to buy just land, which is actually very difficult. But to buy a house where the utilities are already there, and maybe that house needs work to be turned into what you want, now you have the opportunity to actually finance it. You have a little bit of an easier time with utilities and permitting and all of that kind of stuff,
Massively,
right?
yeah.
So can you talk about, like, even if somebody was considering buying land, like, why is a house on land maybe the better move?
You keep your sanity a little bit.
In theory.
There's a lot of moving parts with building, and you have to deal with the county and the health department, and I've done this, and they send you out on a task, and you complete that task, and you bring it back, and they forgot to tell you, within that task you got to do this too.
There's always
and
more.
then you got to start the whole thing over, and it takes you a month to get that answer. So if you can just get a house that's on the edge of being financeable for a good price, and then you have some capital or some ability to do the repairs or remodeling, whatever it is, or just live in it for 10 years and work at it slowly. Yeah. In my opinion, that's much easier. But I see people building houses, and I think it's cool. I haven't done it personally, but I've just heard all the horror stories, and I like my wife, and I don't want to mess that up.
Yeah, I keeping the missus happy. So when you think about, like, you personally just bought a house on land, you've lived in a few different places. You've lived in Eatonville, you've lived all over, you work in Puyallup. Where did you end up buying, and what were the things that you were considering when you found your place?
School district was a big one.
Where did you end up?
We're still in Bethel School District, but we're on the Meridian side, so Graham-Kapowson.
Got it.
And we have a lot of friends there, so we kind of moved our neighborhood over from Spanaway, where we were. We had an acre and a half in Spanaway, and then we moved over to Graham. Ideally, if I had an unlimited budget, I would be Probably out in Eatonville on more property and more privacy. And all
that's
that,
where you grew up?
That's where I grew up, yeah. I like the town. But I guess the biggest things that we were looking into is school district and commute and, of course, budget.
Yeah.
So
you weren't like getting held up by, do I have a gravel driveway or do I have a paved driveway? You were more focused on location and the condition of the house.
I'm kind of partial to gravel.
Yeah. That does not surprise me, Bobby.
Good for your soul.
I am a pavement princess.
No, it depends on what it has, and privacy was another big one for us. So you almost have to have gravel when you want privacy.
Yeah,
so.
And how many acres did you end up being able to get, and like what year was your house built?
It was 5 acres. It was a house that was a rental for a while, and it was kind of run down, and the owner had already moved across the state, so he hadn't been there for a while, and so we were able to get it to the point where it was financeable, and buy it the way it was, and then put our own touch to it.
That's great.
But it's a smaller Rambler, 1,900 square foot Rambler on 5 acres, and we got into it just under 5, and right now it's probably crazy, but 8 maybe.
So if folks are looking to buy a house in Pierce County on land, what are the key factors that you think they should consider? What do you tell your clients?
The biggest thing is going to be budget.
Yeah.
Biggest thing is going to be budget, and then where do you want to live? What are the important things to you, whether it's farther out and more privacy, or closer in and maybe view or school district or something like that. So each person has their own little reasons for wanting it. Wanting land. Some people want a lot of land and a lot of trees, and some people want cleared land. They want fenced land. If it's horses or if it's animals, something like that. Outbuildings is a big one. Somebody would probably trade everything in the house to get a big shop or a big barn or something like that. So it really comes down to each person and what they want.
I think for me, as somebody who helps people find realtors, it's understanding that land and houses on land and financing houses on land and the outbuildings and all the considerations that go into that is its own specialization. And the majority of agents do not do a lot of land deals. And to make sure that you have a person who has experience with that, who can vet the property and make sure that you're not being surprised. I also think that when it comes to buying a house on acreage, just like you've been talking about, you could end up in Spanaway, you could end up in Roy, you could end up in Eatonville. It's like you're looking for the experience, and then you tend to be you have to have an agent who has the geographic experience that spans that whole swath of land, right?
Yeah, and I think a lot of it is not just do I enjoy houses with land, but it's kind of my clientele too. So most of my friends or my clients that are buying land. They want more space, they want room, or they're selling their land, and
right.
But yeah,
it's like a niche of its own. Mm-hmm. Well, thanks so much for coming on and explaining all of this, Bobby.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for having me.